Welcome to Good Money Moves, the show where we share tips and advice to help you feel financially empowered. Today we are talking all about debt consolidation, and I have with me today our AVP of Retail Experience, Christina Kovacevic.
Hi.
And I'm so excited to have you here
Thank you.
and joining us to talk about this topic. Why don't you share just a little bit about yourself and your role at the credit union, and maybe even just talk a little bit about why you have a passion for credit unions.
Yeah, so as Jenna mentioned, I'm Christina Kovacevic. I am the Assistant Vice President of Retail Experience at First Alliance. What that basically means is that I care about the members and look at the member experience and how we treat our members, the information that we share to our members. I took on this role because I really do care about the team that we are helping here in Rochester to build a better financially strong community. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for being here. And let's just dive straight into our topic for today, debt consolidation. What is it? Can you explain what debt consolidation is in simple terms? Like if I was a member sitting in front of you and I'd never heard this term before, how would you explain it?
I always like to talk, when I talk to members, I like to talk to them as humans because that's what they are. I don't like to use bank terms because not a lot of people understand bank terms. So basically how I would describe debt consolidation is combining all of your payments into one payment at the credit union. Debt consolidation also could mean not just debts that you might have with credit cards. It could be personal loans. It could be medical bills. So we kind of look at what your payments are and how we can help you save money by rolling it into one, which then creates a less stressful environment for you because you only have one payment and you're not logging on to 10, 15 different other ones to make one payment.
Yeah, so it just kind of simplifies your debt situation a little bit, it sounds like.
1,000%, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So, I mean, that simplification of all of the bills that you have to pay is a huge benefit. What are maybe some of the other, benefits to debt consolidation that somebody should consider? You mentioned maybe even saving some money on those payments was one.
Yes, I think when we look at credit card interest rates right now, they are at 23+%. And then when you consolidate with First Alliance, we have many different options for debt consolidation. We have a credit card, we can do a balance transfer, we have home equities, we have personal loans. So kind of just really listening to the member and what they're looking to do will help us then decide what's the best course of action. So we're saving you probably the length of time that it takes for you to pay down your loans. The interest rate itself is a huge one. I mean, you could cut years off of your payments just by consolidating.
Yeah, awesome. So if I'm hearing everything you said, you could save money, you could cut down the time it takes to pay off, you could obviously simplify was the big one, which I think is probably the reason most people seek it out, is because they're just feeling really overwhelmed with all of these different debts that they have and they're not sure how to handle it anymore. When would you say debt consolidation makes the most sense for someone, and maybe when does it not necessarily make sense for someone, just because sometimes it doesn't?
Yeah, I think it makes sense for someone who is looking to simplify their life. Sometimes it doesn't make sense because sometimes there's cards that have 0% interest for a short amount of time, or maybe a medical bill. There's typically not an interest rate on that. So that's the times that wouldn't make sense. But one thing that I can say about First Alliance and the staff that we have here is we look at the whole picture for you and decide what the best course of action is. We're never going to put you in a situation where we're making it harder for you to pay off your debt.
Are there ever any types of debts that are maybe more commonly consolidated and some that we could maybe just never consolidate for one reason or another?
Yeah, just like from past experience, I would say credit cards is one of the biggest ones that we consolidate because of the interest rates. They are so high. Ones that we kind of typically leave alone, I would say, is probably the medical. They don't have an interest rate attached to them. It's just making sure that you set up those monthly reoccurring payments so you don't potentially put yourself in collections with those medical bills.
Sure. Interesting. What about student loans? That's a big topic for a lot of people.
Student loans, I too once had student loans, and I think the biggest thing is looking at the interest rate. A lot of student loans, specifically maybe like federal and servicing, they're lower, 3-4%. This was back when I was in college, so I don't know what they are now. But then looking at those versus, maybe a personal loan that's not secured, so there's no collateral attached to it, so those rates tend to typically be higher.
Mm-hmm. And is there only one way to consolidate debt? Like, I know I always think of debt consolidation as like a personal loan, but is there other ways to do it?
Yep, you could do a credit card with us and then do a balance transfer, personal loan like you talked about, a home equity loan or home equity line of credit. If you own your own home, we can see if you have equity in your home to pull money out. We also do unique things like if your car is paid off or your boat is paid off, maybe there's some equity in that we can pull money out of that and then cash out, and you could pay off your stuff, and now you have a car payment for 24, 36 months.
Nice.
So
lots of options. It sounds
lots
like.
of options.
So even if you don't necessarily think you have like good enough credit score or something, like it doesn't hurt to come in and just ask.
Yeah, I think that's what people's biggest misconception is my credit score is low. I don't know if I'm going to get approved. If you're unsure, come in and we can walk you through the steps. And sometimes we're not able to help you right away, but we can give you an avenue, a light at the end of the tunnel, if you will, on maybe things to work on in the next 6 to 8 months to help you get there so we can provide additional services for you. But we're not just going to tell you, nope, we can't help you and send you out the door. That's not what we do here.
Yeah. So that actually makes me think about credit scores in general and how does debt consolidation impact your credit score? And I'm sure it's a little bit different given everybody's situation, what that looks like, but can it improve your credit score, or is it likely to maybe not improve it right away? Like, what does that look like?
Like you said, it depends on the consumer. Sometimes it does help your credit go up because the credit utilization is lower. Sometimes your credit utilization is low enough and it could actually affect your credit score in a negative way. Prime example, I paid off my car after I graduated from college, and it dropped my credit score 64 points because that positive payment history is no longer showing on your credit. So all those months of on-time payments is now gone, and they have nothing to reference to anymore. So it dropped my credit score. I was like, what the heck? Why? Why?
Yeah, and I'm sure you're not the only person who's ever thought that too. Credit scores are very mysterious, as we learned when we were talking with Jordan a couple weeks ago. If this sounds like a good solution for someone, debt consolidation, whether it be through credit cards like you talked about, or a personal loan, or maybe they do have some equity in their home, what are the steps that they should be thinking about taking, maybe before they even come down to sit down with us, or what are some things they can expect during that conversation when they do come in and sit down with a lender to talk through their options?
Absolutely. So I think being prepared is going to make the transition into us helping our members. So gathering statements, the most current statements that you have, gathering full card numbers. So then that way, if we are looking to do that, we can access that information. We can send out those credit card payments for you. Do your research on different types of loans that maybe might fit. So then when you do come into the credit union, we can then amplify what you already know and help you make a better decision. I also think that working with someone that you trust is huge. Everyone here at First Alliance is great. I don't say that because they're my staff, but I truly do feel that every person I've sat in with, they really listen to the member's story. They ask questions to identify and make sure they understand, and then we provide possibilities to our members. And like I said, it might not always be the possibility that you were hoping for, but we're always looking at what is in the best interest of our members, and we're never going to set you up for failure.
Yeah, no, that's great. So it sounds like if somebody is interested in looking deeper into debt consolidation for their financial situation, really the number one thing is like kind of wrap your own arms around your situation so that when you come in to speak with somebody, you already have a really good understanding of where you're at, and so that it can kind of just help you be in a better position from the get-go versus coming in and not really having an understanding of even what credit cards you have out there or the balances and those types of things.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when you have debt out there, it's kind of hard to admit to yourself that you have that debt, and then putting it down on a piece of paper or gathering those statements, you get overwhelmed, but just know that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. And not only here at First Alliance are we gonna do that loan for you and send you off on your way, we're gonna help you budget. We're going to help figure out where are you spending your money that you can maybe back off a little bit and put that into savings or make that extra payment. So we're not here to just put a Band-Aid on what you have going on. We're here to find a solution so that debt consolidation isn't a part of your everyday normal life for years to come.
Yeah, and that's awesome. That's really awesome. What, I bet you have some member stories that come to mind when I say the word debt consolidation. There's probably like member stories that come directly to mind that you've helped personally in your time in the financial industry. Can you, without obviously naming any names, can you share some of those stories and like how powerful that is to kind of go through that process for someone?
I had members that had come in and they had just started their business, and so they were purchasing all these things that they needed for the business. And then once, those payments started coming in and interest rate is 23, 25, 29%, between all the credit cards, they're making almost $2,500 in payments on those cards. And so we looked at many different options. Their plan was, how fast can we do this so we can just get this over with, and ended up doing a home equity, which is a little bit longer process, but the interest rate was there. They were going to be saving money. They went from having their monthly payments be $2,500 to $578 a month to consolidate all of their stuff. And the relief on their face was like, that's why I do what I do, because when members come in and they think like, this is it, I don't know what else I can do, like I've lost all hope, I'm like, just wait a second, let me see what I can do. And there's always a solution. There's always something that we can do. Tips, tricks, starting a loan, helping you with your budget, whatever it is. But that story always sticks with me because, they're here to like live the American dream, to have their own business. And sometimes you get yourself in a pinch, but having a lender that you can trust to give you the most sound advice, that'll get you very far.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story. That's a huge savings.
Savings. I know, like they were so shocked. They're like, wait, how? And I'm like, because these interest rates are 23, 25, 29%, and this interest rate is 5.75 or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah, that's huge. Well, and I think that goes to just show too, like, how important it is to understand the type of debts that you're taking on in the first place, and really understand what that interest is going to do to your payment over time, because to your point, it's so easy to just kind of get rolling with life and just try to take care of all the things you need to take care of, and then all of a sudden you're faced with all of these high interest rates that you kind of knew were maybe going to be there, or maybe you really didn't, just because you didn't even know to think about it. And I think that's a lot of a common place for people to be. So if you are in that situation, don't feel bad about it. Just come in and talk to somebody, because it's a very common situation for people to be in, for sure. Yeah, very common. I think, maybe people realize what the interest rate is, but don't expect the payments to be as high as they are. And then making that minimum payment, a good portion of that is going towards interest charged on purchases. So you're just paying on interest and a little bit of the actual principal. What other tips or advice do you have for somebody who's maybe considering debt consolidation, specifically through something like a balance transfer? Because that's a little bit of a different process than just coming in and maybe doing like a personal loan, because we talked about kind of the quote-unquote dangers of those credit cards, and they're getting out of control, and that's kind of what's leading people to need to consolidate. So doing something like a balance transfer onto another card, that, like, can you talk a little bit about what people should be thinking about before going down that road?
Yeah, I think that biggest thing I tell people is self-control. Have self-control to know that, yes, that you're taking on another card, but we're consolidating everything into one. And something I always tell members, if we are doing a balance transfer, use this as like a personal loan with no other limit on it. So pay this off, and then we'll see if we can get you to use that card and make, on-time payments, and also explaining to them, like, this is the rate. This is what you're looking at as far as payments. Just really taking a deep dive into what that means to do a balance transfer, getting that other card, because most of the times it's like you're consolidating 5, 6, 7 cards into one now, and it's, people don't always understand. But yeah.
Interesting. That's really good advice. That's really good advice.
Yeah.
Anything else that our viewers, our listeners should know about debt consolidation that we haven't talked about, or anything you really want to like just drive home about it?
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing I want to drive home is, do not be embarrassed. Do not hesitate to go to your local financial, hopefully it's First Alliance, and come see one of our great people here. And don't be embarrassed about, debt consolidation. Everyone at one point has some kind of debt that they're looking to consolidate. Life happens, but that's why we're here, to give you the best possible options and help you make the most sound option that really fits your life and what you're looking to do. So don't be scared, don't hesitate, and don't wait so long that you get yourself into a financial situation that could have been resolved months ago with a simple debt consolidation, and now we're 6 months in, and now we have late payments, and you have debt collectors calling after you. So
be proactive.
Be proactive.
That's great advice. And thank you so much for being here with me, Christina. This was really great information. If you do want to learn more about debt consolidation, you can visit our website at firstalliancecu.com. We have all kinds of blog information. We have an entire resource page on our website about debt consolidation. We even have a debt consolidation calculator that you can download for free that will help you figure out what benefits you might see from debt consolidation based on your specific credit mix. And of course, make sure to hit like and subscribe, and join us next time. This is Good Money News.